Hello and welcome to Bharat Mobility Global Expo, the Component Show. Today we are joined by Mr. Vikrampati Singhania, who is the Vice President ACMA and also the Managing Director of JK Fenner. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you for inviting me. Really appreciate
Sir,
it.
first of all, I would like to understand about the theme of the future automotive supply chain. What is the theme is all about and what we can see in the Component Show today at Yashobhumi?
No, it's a very important question that you're asking, Ji. I think what you will see today as you go around is over 1,000 odd companies from completely different sectors. You will see companies from traditional manufacturing. You will see companies that are transitioning from traditional IC engine type of manufacturing to EV manufacturing and other fuel components. You'll see software companies that are now doing work in either the manufacturing space or the consumer end of the story. You'll see companies that are doing logistics and how they are supporting the whole industries. You see OE companies, you'll see aftermarket companies.
Right.
So it's a mix of what the entire mobility sector has to offer as you go forward. You see companies supplying in India, you see companies supplying globally.
Right. I have also taken a round around the expo and have felt that it's pretty much in line with what the OEMs are asking and the new trends like electrification, digitization of the cars and the vehicle industry. What is your view? How we can build a resilient supply chain when it comes to the electrification, because it's a new supply chain that is emerging in the automotive industry.
Correct. From a transitioning perspective, this is a very, very important time. The OEs, of course, are the front end to this whole story. As the OEs demand more and they start choosing the technologies that they are adopting, the supply base is gearing up to meet those challenges. Lots of them are being innovated in India. Some of them are coming out of collaborations. So ultimately, you'll see the supply chain evolving into something that is not only mechanical, is electromechanical, is electrical, it's software. You'll see a number of member companies talking about and showcasing their products that they are now offering the EV system. The government's support and the government's push on localization, the government's push on electrification and the Atmanirbharta towards that story is also pushing member companies to be able to meet these challenges as we go forward. The government's incentive schemes are helping the Indian auto component industry to transition into completely new technologies as being led by the OEs.
Right.
And they're doing it not only for India, they're doing it for the rest of the world too.
Right. So the key theme is decarbonization, and every country or maybe every company in the world is working towards net zero. Same with the components, same with the automotive supply chain. How do you see, where does India stand currently in terms of building that value that is been accepted globally, and how do you see to filling the gap? What are the challenges that emerges?
It's the beginning of the journey in some ways. You will see both at the buyer side as well as the supplier side, each company committing itself and putting up goals on carbon neutralization. If you start at the back end, India is significantly adding solar and wind capacity and alternative energy capacity to be able to put it into the grid. That grid is the one that is supplying, whether it be battery technologies or as you go forward. So the multi-fuel agenda of India, whether it be the hydrogens, the natural gases, the BEV, the battery electric side of it, is being supported by the entire ecosystem. So it's not limited to what's happening within the auto component industry, but each member of the auto component industry, the entire supply chain, the entire ecosystem around it is playing a role in. The challenges, of course, is some of the technologies are still new. Some of the technologies are expensive. So as more and more companies go down this route, it's a different way of achieving this than the traditional way of achieving this. So companies have to find people to work with to be able to help them go up this journey. Europe is putting a whole bunch of regulations around decarbonization. Again, Indian companies and ACMA particularly is trying to help ACMA member companies to understand these regulations and what technologies can be used to be able to go up this. Of course, lastly is the cost of these technologies, the funding of these technologies. And again, here again, more and more companies are being able to go up this challenge, but it's cost. It's a costly agenda. We've got to keep the cost of supply low. So that kashmakash will always be there to some extent.
Right. So if we talk about the Indian component industry, it is a mix of tier 1, tier 2 and tier 3, and it goes till the end of the value chain. How do you see that the tier 2s and the tier 3s, how do they come up and bring up solutions where tier 1 can become this more of a solution provider rather than just being supplying parts, because now as we move forward there are a lot of solutions, integrated solutions are required in the future vehicles.
Correct. No, it's a very good and important question that you're asking, Ashu. You will see what is happening in India is that our membership or Indian component people are now globally exposed. So they understand these transitions into solutions. If you see them, tier 1, tier 2s now work very closely with each other. It's no longer just a buyer-supplier relationship. It's a co-creation agenda. A lot of people are being able to now work with their tier 2 suppliers or tier 3 suppliers to do co-development of products and parts as they go forward. Everybody may not have everything, but they are partnering with each other to be able to go to the end customer and offer them an integrated solution. Tier 1s and tier 2s are hiring people on their system that now bring in a solution mindset. They're bringing in engineering capabilities, they're bringing in design capabilities, so that ultimately, especially if you look at the EV side, a number of these EV companies don't necessarily come from the traditional background.
Right.
They're using this partnership of the supply chain to develop products for them. Right. So I think that change of supplying them a part, a component, versus saying, let's work with you to be able to do this. Global companies want this. Indian companies want this. And I think that's how the entire chain has started collaborating even more to be able to offer the solution.
Yeah. So you also lead the ACMA Mobility Foundation, and the primary theme for is the manufacturing excellence. Would like to understand from you, where does the automotive component manufacturing currently stand at? What kind of key challenges and opportunities lies for component people?
So one of the strengths of ACMA and the ACMA Mobility Foundation has traditionally always been our camaraderie. We're about 1,000 odd members. A large number of them are mid-sized and small MSME companies. But what's been wonderful about this whole group is that they talk to each other. They're very open to each other. They're very willing to learn from each other. And ACMA just builds on that capability. The centers of excellence around manufacturing, around skilling, around mechatronics, around digitization. We run a whole bunch of programs for our members that not only work within a group of 8 companies or 6 companies that are members of this programs. You are able to offer them significant outcomes and significant benefits on quality of manufacturing, on precision of manufacturing, on decarbonization, on this whole area of net zero, on the whole area of upskilling of people that they have on the shop floor. New equipment that is coming into the plants is all digitized. So how does the yesterday's workforce able to cope up with these new equipment?
Right.
So a number of programs are run by ACMA for its member companies that involve the upskilling and the capability building about the member companies. The latest is in robotics. The latest is on mechatronics. A whole bunch of work is happening in upskilling the whole capability and capacity building of the entire sector.
Right. And when we talk about the capability building, then we also come for the workforce skilling. How do you, how auto component industry is preparing for the future trends, and how do you see where the skill gap is when it comes from the people coming from academia like colleges and the needs in the component industry?
No, like I was just saying, A number of programs are run for upskilling right from the shop floor. Not only in the management level, but up at the shop floor. Majority of the work actually is at the shop floor. Because that is where the part is being produced. So that is where the majority of the upskilling and opening of the mind is taking place. We talked about equipment capabilities. Tomorrow's equipments are all some sort of PLC, some sort of technologies going into the equipment. The labor who's been with you for 20 years, 25 years, may have never been exposed to these new technologies. So ACMA works with member companies to take this forward into completely reskilling and retooling them to be able to take forward new technologies as they go forward. Absolutely.
Right. If you have to give one policy recommendation to the government at present, what would that be?
That's the toughest one. No, I would only say pick a few paths that we want to focus on. I know we need to focus on multiple technologies from the input of the fuel side. It will help us to build capability, capacity, and ultimately size is important. So I think the government has been encouraging us to say that we want to be a global player. We want to be amongst the largest in the world in the auto component industry. I think Piyush Goyal yesterday also in the past also has mentioned that we want to do 100 billion in exports. I think continuing and aiding that agenda and staying focused on the agenda will actually help us deliver the outcome. So stay focused and continue to encourage us.
Right. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you very much.
So that was Mr. Vikrampati Singhania from Bharat Mobility Expo, the Component Show. Thank you so much for joining us today.